Hello, this is Charles Peterson of the IT205 class, and this is my video project on router setup and configuration. This video I'll be walking through configuration options for connecting to the internet, securing your network from intruders, configuring your router as a firewall, and other helpful features that may improve the speed and security of your network. We'll begin by opening up our router configuration page in our internet browser. To do this, we're just going to type the private IP address of the router on our home network. As a linksys on mine, the most likely default address is going to be 192.168.1.1. Enter. Oops. There we go. All right, now we gotta authenticate. Defaults are generally admin for linksys. If for some reason it isn't, you can also do a internet search and um, should be able to find it that way. So I've reset my password, but you might be something else. All right. First thing that you want to do when you get a new router or configuring a new router is you want to go to admin and change the password. Generally, if anyone gets on your network and they want to mess with your router and lock you out of your own network, that's very easily attainable. So always change your password when you are working with a router, new router at least. Second, we're going to go to wireless and we're going to change our SSID, which is basically the name that differentiates your network from other networks in the general vicinity. While we're here, we can set the network mode, which should be, mixed A, B, or G. B devices run slower, 11 megabits per second. G go at 54, but generally just want to leave it on mixed and let the router figure out by device-to-device basis. Wireless channel is 11 channels, just in case you're getting interference from, say, a wireless telephone that you have in the house, or microwave, or your RC control car, anything that runs on the 2.4 gigahertz radio frequency has the ability to interfere with your network communication. So if you experience that, change channels, maybe you'll get uh, some better results. SSID broadcast, if you want to hide your network from devices that scan for networks to connect to, as a little security feature you can disable. Make sure you hit save after any changes that you do. Right. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go do security. Oops, wireless security, and we're going to set our mode. WPA and WPA2 are the ones that you're going to use. More devices are compliant with WPA. WPA2 is kind of not really supported by some handheld devices, so they're basically the same technology. WPA just takes you know, just a little bit more hashing at the password and stuff like that, but it's basically the same thing. Um, Shared key, this is what is configured on all your devices that you want to connect to your wireless network. And your algorithm, TKP/IP is just fine. Group key interval, this is the amount of times that this is the frequency at which your router is going to verify and send out a new hash code. Uh, so now that we're done with that, we're going to go through all of the other ones that generally or may not be changed. Setup basic is you can basically leave it alone. It's optimal just as is generally. DDNS really not used on home networks too often. MAC address clone is probably the only thing that you may use as far as setup and stuff like that. And the reason is your internet service provider, it has on your profile a MAC address for the Ethernet device that you're connecting to. And for some reason, if you have to change that device out for, say, a new router, or you're adding a router where there used to be none, um, you need to either have your ISP update your MAC address that you're connecting with, or you need to clone one. And generally, it's a lot faster to clone it. So basically, what you're doing is you didn't. I don't know what the heck is going on here. All right, basically you enabled it, and then you put in the MAC address of the last device that you used. For routers, it's generally on a label on the bottom side, or maybe even the back side. It's six two digits hex numbers, and then you hit clone. Or if you need to, if you used to connect straight with your computer to the internet, then what you want to do is go to a command window, ipconfig \all, and then you're going to look at your local area connection and your physical address. That is your Ethernet card's MAC address that you can use to as cloning if you did not have a router between your computer and your modem before. So close that out. Um, wireless, we already went through most of this. Wireless MAC filter is a way to secure your network by severely limiting the number of computers that can um, connect to it. Or you can choose to prevent certain PCs from connecting to it. Most generally, you're going to do the permit only PCs listed here. And all you do is you put your physical MAC addresses in each of these, and those are the only ones that are going to be able to connect to your network through the wireless um, router. Advanced wireless settings. Not going to play with much in here, but there are a couple things that you can use to maybe help the speed. One would be frame burst, and basically all it means is your router and wireless devices are enabled, and that means that they can send more packets before they have to have a mandatory wait time. And it's good for networks that are like probably two or three wireless devices. But once you get into more of that, then it starts really queuing up communication and slowing it down drastically. So like I said, two to three at the most. When you get into larger networks that are a lot of communication between devices, what you can do to speed up internet access on that network is to turn on AP isolation. What this does is it basically puts every device on its own subnet, and therefore they cannot communicate with each other, and therefore all they can do is connect to the internet, which sort of streamlines everything and makes it a lot easier, and your router has to do a lot less um, you know, routing as far as all communication it gets goes straight to the internet. Security, basically, this is where you're going to set it up as sort of a firewall type device. Basically, the foundation of computer security is going to be that if you can block it, you should until you need it. And then you can open up and use it temporarily, then block it again. So that's basically what I've done on mine. If I ever need any of these options changed, I can come in, change it, use it, and then turn it back off if I need to. It's basically all for that security tab. Um, access restrictions. Basically, what this does is it's kind of like the MAC filtering on your wireless, but it's a lot more involved because you can, set certain times to allow internet access to go through your router. You can either choose to deny or allow the listed PCs. Basically the same thing as the other one, except for you can use IP addresses. You can also use ranges. So if you want to deny everything on your network except for one computer, it's a lot easier to do it with just ranges instead of having to put in, you may only have six, you may have seven computers you want to block, but you only have six IP addresses, so you'd have to use max. Or you can do ranges, which is kind of nice. Is that select your days that you want to permit or deny, time. You can also come down here and block things like FTP, email, um, secure HTTP, stuff like that. Right down here, you can block certain URLs or block URLs by keyword, and which is kind of helpful if you want to, keep kids on the internet safe. Applications gaming. What this is basically port forwarding, as it suggests right here, and all you're doing is open up ports for communication, and then routing that communication to a specific computer. So you want to put your application name, ports to open, protocol, both up, down, or TCP, and then, like I said, your IP address for the computer that you use this application on. Port triggering is basically the same thing as forward, except it senses for communication on ports and then opens up other ports as needed for other applications that may go hand in hand with it. So it's kind of a convenience thing there. DMZ really shouldn't use unless you have like a web server or something that gets a lot of initial requests, from the internet. Most of the time you're sending out requests and you're getting communication back, but this is a way to protect your network. I, you still have a router, but you're going to enable this, and then you'd have a firewall on the other side of, like, say, a web server or something, or email server if you host that. And this would be the private IP address of the server that you're trying to run. Quality of service, this is basically prioritizing information and data transfer based on either ports um, on your router or specific ports that applications use for stuff like that. Or you can go by actual MAC devices, set at low, medium, high, highest. So if you got something that's really time sensitive that you want to make sure, above all else, make sure this doesn't get dropped or lag behind. This is where you're going to come to do it. You can also kind of do it with the wireless fairly easily. So it's basically all I wanted to talk about. Everything else like administrations, like tools. Like I said, you set your password here and your remote router access. But most of the time, we're not really going to use too much of this. Logs, you know, diagnostics, upgrade for firmware, which honestly I don't have really ever had to do. Um, on that, that's pretty much it. So thank you, and I hope this was helpful to someone. Sorry, I was a little nervous, so good luck.